Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So today we're seeing massive results coming on polls for Reform UK Party. But the most interesting bit is not how many seats they'll win or the vote share or even the fact that in some polls they are now getting more votes than the Labour and Conservative parties. But it is that they are now projected to take more seats off the Labour Party than the Conservatives. So if we look at historically, any party led by Nigel Farage has always indirectly helped the Labour Party by splitting the right-wing vote. But now the argument the Conservatives are using, saying a vote for Reform is a vote for Labour, is being dismantled because Reform are not only holding the voters they've took off the Conservatives, but they are digging deep into the Labour heartlands. If we look at one poll specifically, which is a lower poll for Reform UK when it comes to the seats, it has the Reform Party winning 76 seats, up from 5 if there was an election today. And amazingly, 60 of those 76 seats would come off Labour, with only 16 coming off the Conservatives. But like I said, that is a very low poll for Reform UK. If they are to take, as some other polls have suggested, 3% more off Labour and 3% more off the Conservatives, they could be looking at anything up to 190 seats. Altogether, again, with well over 130 coming off Labour and around 50 coming off the Conservatives. So the Conservatives' argument of vote Reform, vote Labour is dying, but at the same time, the Labour Party are absolutely petrified. It looks like the red wall could collapse if there was a general election today. And the best news for Reform UK is they are actually still 4 years away from a general election. And if they carry on the projection that they're going on, I think the Reform UK Party may just look at winning an all-out general election. Now, of course, that brings its own problems. How does a party operate, which are going to go from 5 MPs to possibly as high as 316? And for anybody looking, thinking that's impossible, don't forget just how small the margins are here. So Reform UK on 14% of the vote are looked at getting 5 seats. Up to about 23, 24, they was looking up to 100 seats. If they can break past the 30, 31, 32 mark, then they could be looking at getting into majority territory. So it's only a couple more percent of each party can take Reform from 150 MPs, let's say, all the way up to 300 plus. Now, like I said, that does bring some problems. How do you go from 5 MPs to 300 and something MPs and run an effective government? Well, that is why the Reform UK Party, at the dismay of some people on the right, are recruiting former Conservative MPs. So if they are in that position to form a government, at least they have people with the experience to help them lead a government. And I think if you look at the people it's brought in as donors and former MPs, they are people who are like-minded. And there's also rumours of people like Suella Braverman now coming on board, possibly Jake and Rees-Mogg. So it is very interesting times. But the Labour Party's only weapon with the massive mistakes that it's made so far was that Nigel Farage and the Reform Party would always split that Conservative vote. And instead, it's not happening. What we're now seeing is something that actually resembles proportional representation, in which all 3 parties are quite evenly matched on the popular vote. And seat-wise, some polls are now predicting that they're all going to be quite evenly matched. Now, we need Reform to get that bit more popular, because the biggest problem they will have if they, let's say, get quite an evenly split with the other 2 is what we see in Europe. And that is where one party with 30-something% of the vote does win, but it doesn't have an overall majority. And you know, when it comes to cutting net zero and having net zero on immigration, you know that the other 2 parties, and the Lib Dems and the Greens and the SNP and the rest of the left-wing parties, would simply put the vote together to stop Reform UK doing anything. But please let me know what you think, about reform, now digging in to the Labour heartlands and projected to take more seats off Labour than the Conservatives. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.